Peace and blessings. What's up, family? I'm ChiVital, aka King Chi, and y'all already know that I'm back with another tool for your toolkits and how to create your lives. I am focusing in on our spiritual practices, different places and spaces in time. A little play on some poetry that y'all don't already know yet. Maybe some of y'all. See if some of y'all catch it. Um, from back in the dizzy. What up, Neptune Owl? What up there? Pardon me with the little background noises. I have quite a number of pens since I use a different pen for different work. But tonight, you all, you want to take out your general notebook in regards to your altars, and I'm going to dive in a bit about wine and altars and some common mistakes that people make. But mostly, as a good teacher is supposed to do, I'm not just going to tell you all what you're doing wrong. I'm going to tell you what to do right and how. Okay? What to do and how. Pardon me. Now turn this off. Ooh, it's off. All right, so if you're ready for me to dive into this conversation, press one in the chat, and let me know also if you can hear me clearly. Can you hear me clearly? Oh my gosh, look at my Bintu. My Bintu is just sliding on my oily face. Put my hair up. What up, Starseed? Welcome back, welcome back. I see you showing up in the building more consistently. That's a blessing for yourself. What up, what up? What up, So-So? What up, Nikki? Trying to put my hair up right quick. I should have tied it up. It's peaches. It's peaches. All right. So, wine and altars. Let's talk about wine and altars and why the particular materials you use are so important for your experience and how you're going to be connecting with particular entities that take a substance such as wine. Okay? Now, I know some of y'all hear, oh, you need to buy the most expensive wine for these spirits if you're going to incorporate it into your ritual. And you will hear that you must have a bottle of wine for some of these spirits, right? And I'm going to just tell you right now, there are some people who have titles in this genre of spirituality that will tell you it doesn't matter. In fact, you might even go to some of the places where there are rituals happening and there's wine involved, and you see some of the cheapest wine being used. Okay? I want you to first and foremost tell me if you've had that experience so far. You've gone to a group setting where wine is being involved and they got some of the cheapest wine there to be used for a ritual. Press one in the chat if you've experienced that. Because if you have, then the next question is relevant. And y'all can tell me if I'm lying. Okay? All right, if you have not, you new to this circle, I'll give y'all some examples. In fact, the spaces where people are using cheap wine for certain spirits, okay, especially high ranking female spirits, those people tend to also reflect the poverty and the mindset that went along with purchasing that cheap wine for those divine feminine archetypes. Okay? And I'll explain to you why the quality of wine matters. Besides the fact that the energy, the currency behind the particular wine that you are purchasing is a part of the thought process that is being imprinted into your ritual, where most of you are not contacting spirits just to have a round table and, shoot the shit, right? You are looking to contact these high ranking energies in order to have some type of real effect on your lives in a practical way. Yes? So if you are trying to get the best of the best to come to your party, to want to revisit, stick around for a little while, share some like insider tips and tools with you. With people, we pull out our best. What makes you think that with spirits who don't necessarily have to engage with you any different? So, one of the first mistakes that people who are practicing spirituality and utilizing tools like wine make, one of the first mistakes is wine is wine. It's the chemistry is the chemistry. Okay? It's alcohol, it's red wine. Red wine is red wine. Nah. All right. The difference in price for the wine that is being used for ritual is not a simple thing of name brand. Can you find wine that tastes good, that's not expensive? Sure. But for a ritual, especially in the higher occult arts where you are contacting more ancient energies, the tools you use, one, you want to ensure that they have the most life in them. Two, you want to ensure that they are packaged in a material that is going to hold the most vibration, hold it. Okay. And then three, being one of the more important aspects, is that more expensive wine goes through a longer aging process, which means that it carries more older information. It has more power in it. And the more rich the substance is the least amount of it that you need to engage in or indulge in before you start to loosen yourself into that trance like space and be able to witness spirit. A lot of the cheaper alcohols, their aim is just to put someone in drunkenness, right? We don't see people who are alcoholics real bad, just the ones standing outside of the liquor store begging for coins to get alcohol, drinking very expensive alcohol. No, they take their few dollars and they go for the cheap stuff because the cheap stuff takes them there faster, but it also shuts them down just as fast, right? And it keeps them locked into a lower vibration. So even for a moment that they feel high, they can't sustain it. And so they're more likely to get hijacked by an imposter spirit because there was not that slow warm up. So, with your altars, the time and the energy that goes into the making of the products that you use and the intention is very important. It's not something to skip. That's why it's better for you to use what you have in the moment than to try to go cheaply to something else. Okay. And when I say cheaply, it's not as linear as, okay, this is supposed to cost $300 and you're going to the dollar store instead. No. I'll give you an example of the altars, right? Beginning the Erishkigal work, all right? And the new moon, I had given out the one of the tools being a wooden skeleton because the natural wood comes from something that's alive, right? I said, sure, you can go to the store, you can purchase it, yada, yada, do the ritual. But for those of you who took the time and the effort, some of y'all in the cold weather, to go outside directly to nature where the wood is freshly fallen off of a tree, untouched by anything profane, right? Took it home, found your pine cones, and put together your skeletons. That's more expensive than pulling up to the store and picking up some wood that's been bleached, pressed, compressed. It's mixed up with a bunch of other different woods. It's gone through 1,000 different hands. Make sense? Now with the wine, right? The thing about energy. First and foremost, why do we work with red wine most of the times for these goddesses? Well, red wine is more expensive than the white wine. Red wine tends to go through a longer aging process than white wine. The aging process costs more money, right? And the materials like the oak wood barrels, right? Those things are very, very expensive. But once again, the wine is getting to sit in this natural material. And so these entities that are connected to these materials, wood, right, being the earthly energy, is sitting a long time having this exchange of flavors. And what is flavors? That's the essence, exchange of data, exchange of DNA, exchange and becoming one, right? So when the wine leaves it, it leaves a stain in the wood and it takes some of the wood with it. That material in a very good quality glass bottle that is corked with natural material, okay, not a screw open bottle, okay, not aluminum, but a cork natural material, okay, is now holding that energy and that conversation from the root, from the grapevine, right? Lots of information where we get those terms. I heard it from the grapevine. It's connection, okay? It's a connection all the way to you. Some people buy and use wine that's in plastic bottles. That's a no-no, all right? When you are chanting and you are programming anything on your altar, wine, water, milk, whatever the liquid substance is, right? Plastic will distort the sound and the vibration. That's why when you do really high up rituals, They're not even using regular glass. They're using crystal, right? When you see pujas being done, ain't nobody using no plastic cups. They're using copper. These materials are important. Thumbs up this video if y'all want more people to get this information. And welcome the new people to our family. All right? So, what are some no nos? Plastic is a no no. Cheap wine is a no no. While you are writing some of your incantations and you're sitting at your altars speaking the incantations, firstly, while you're writing, you should be reciting in your mind. Okay? Now, for those of you who have more time available to you, or sometimes you write everything out quickly and you end up, waiting for some more information, challenge yourself to go and rewrite the thing with your less dominant hand. That's another secret, right? But while you're sitting at your altar, no plastic, no cheap wine. Now, with the expensive wine, not that it matters to the person who is in the flow of abundance, but when something has more value, we tend to take our time with it. In this case, it's not taking your time because, oh, I spent $300 on this bottle. I'm going to make this thing last forever. No. The taste in it has so many different notes that if you take your time, you will take small amounts of it and allow the taste buds to recognize and send to your brain the different messages along with what you're writing. Who understands that? The quality of the wine, when you taste it, when you breathe it in, you're able to have a larger experience if you take your time with it. This is the kind of way that you want to approach a divine energy, because it shows that you have the maturity necessary to receive more of the downloads that they're going to share with you. The more you rush to get to this high and lose control and give it up to spirit, is the more foolish you appear to spirit, especially older spirits who have the ability to discern whether or not they want to communicate with you. You know which spirits don't have that much ability to discern? Lower lower vibrational spirits, imposter spirits. They just walking around aimless and see a candle and go, oh, hey, you having a party over here? You could be getting ready to do an exorcism, which is really why they get clapped on so quickly and easily, because, oh, look, some incense and a candle, some water, must be an invitation for me. Because they not that intelligent of energies. You follow where I'm going with these kinds of secrets that are here in the ritual space? Now, the more beautiful, like whether they are into things that are lavish, and if they're into things that are more simplified, right? Knowing the energetic that you're working with when you're building the altar is just as important, because it's not, oh, I'm going to put these things here because I like them. Because it's not for you, it's for them. So let's say you working with an energy that likes more simpler things. They might like a particular kind of fruit versus another energy that wants precious gems, or an energy that wants a precious metal. So you want to make sure you're giving out the right signals when it comes to the other materials that are on your altar. Okay? Wine. Some of the other attributes to why wine can be more expensive and how they're related to your occult word. Some of the most expensive red wines are because the grapes that are used to make those wines are harder to sustain and grow, meaning they're more finicky, like real particular about how they're grown. So if you are looking to work with an energy that is harder to call, the energy of the wine would be the grapes that took lots and lots of care. They may have had to be handpicked because to be picked by machines would be to damage them, right? To be picked by machines, that means that the purity is not as high as, when I say purity, like the grapes that are good and the grapes that are a little sour or a little rotten, right? Kind of fall into the machines who they do their best. But handpicked, you get closer to perfection. In a location where it's difficult for things to grow, or there needs to be a special irrigation process, right? The way that the water comes into the land. Not only is it costing the vintners, right, more to produce it, but that's all a characteristic in of the DNA of the grapes that is going into the bottle. So that's why. That's why red wine. That's why expensive red wine. I encourage you to use natural materials on your altars as much as possible. Okay? As much as possible. Because they are able to hold a purer vibration than any other materials like plastic. The only time you will see plastic being present is just for the imagery. Write that down. The only time plastic is used in authentic altars to work with real energies is for imagery. Nothing else. And the imagery is to invoke the energy within the practitioner. That's it. That's it. Y'all got that? Now, the language that pardon me, Neptune, I will ask the question, do all the attraction goddesses accept wine? There are way too many different goddesses for me to just go, yeah. So for the one specifically that you're working with and you've received instructions to use wine during that ritual, that would be the answer. Okay? But one of the aspects of the attraction is that the wine does open up you. It helps you to tap into that attraction energy within yourself so that there can be an energetic match to what you're calling. Same with manifesting. You cannot manifest joy if you can't open up the space of your solar plexus and your heart to shine back out into the universe, to call on energies that want to be around joy, including people. There's a very, very special energy about red wine. Okay? And it tends to open up the darker feminine energies, which require more discipline for you not to get caught up in your own madness. So, again, more expensive wine, you place your offerings and just take a little sip at a time. And really and truly, you, if you are pure in your intentions and focus in a meditative state, you won't need to actually drink that wine. But the act of taking a sip is to, if they want to share with you, because not all energies want to share what's on their altar with you. So you should have a bottle for that energy and you should have a bottle for yourself. Okay? Because at some point, you may need to ask, would you like me to share in this wine with you? Okay? Some of them are like that too. Like, this mine, don't touch it. Get your own. Thank you. Um, what else? Uh, so paid family. I'm going to talk to you more about this speaking Sumerian. But as the English goes, for everyone who is speaking the English language, as it goes with these incantations, and they're poetic, right? And they're translated information from the ancient language. You know, the pictures that are made up of like a bunch of letters or a bunch of shapes, and once you pick it up the first time, you can't really see anything, but you just see a bunch of dots, right? But you take the paper and you slowly pull it back away from you, and then suddenly you see the picture. When you're speaking the English and you're writing the English at your altar, taking your time in doing that allows the picture in between to come forward through the translation and give you more of the information that's missing from there in the form of pictures. When you're doing something like that and you get to that level of awareness, you know then that your altar is activated. What some people do, okay, is they begin doing this work at their altars, and then they treat the altar like it's a bookshelf or it's a regular desk. Once your altar is activated, one of the mistakes that people make with an activated altar is to behave as if that altar is not in the room and there's not a sacred space created. If you do not have a space to enclose an altar, the entire space that the altar lives in becomes the temple. And so understand that once you activate your altar, come into that space as if you are walking into a temple. Behave in that space as if you're coming into a temple. That makes sense? If you want to maintain the constant energy at that altar and to keep that energy present, especially as you are learning from a particular energy and wanting to keep the connection, treat the space as if you are walking into a temple, right? You wouldn't wear your shoes, you wouldn't sit on it, you wouldn't put your coffee on it. If you see that things are going bad on the altar, you would change it, refresh it. You're not going to play your regular music around your altar. You're only going to play music or frequencies that are related to that particular altar around that altar, especially when you have it activated and working for you in that way. If you really want to go deeply. Because some of the common mistakes are, it's only sacred while I'm working on it. And it's only sacred right there in that one space on that one particular table. I could do whatever else I feel like doing, and it's not going to have an effect on my work. That's not true. And so, in keeping an altar, whether you're initiated or not, you are beginning to understand the life of an initiated priest or priestess. That it's not something that's to be taken lightly, that it does require a high sense of mindfulness and awareness of your space. Who can be in this space? How does the space change where you're like, okay, before I got started, everybody could hang out in here. Everybody could roll up their blunt and empty out their stuff and kick back and ha 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 and laugh. But now I have this altar in here. It's probably not that kind of space to be in. Or is it? So pay attention to the realms that you're in. Pay attention. And when you're not sure and you've already reached out and you've gotten answers, that's one way, right? Once you connect, because when you connect with the deities, it's very clear. Once you connect and you're clear, you're connected, ask. Ask. You want to be able to sit in the energy and trust when you present some questions or some types of circumstances that you're trying to solve, present them to the deities that they're going to answer you. Like I said, there's no point in housing a bunch of energies that have no practical use because they are going to be draining you for you to sustain them, and you don't give them any use in your life. For what? All right. So I touched on the wine and the altars. Congratulations and shouts out to everybody who literally built their altars from scratch. I did like a brief demo on building a Vedic altar. Um, but yeah, paid sauce. I'm about to talk to y'all about these protections on your altars, sorry, on your journals, and speaking in Sumerian. And that's going to be over there in the paid source on the Code College. And for the Slytherin, y'all will be able to gain access to that as well. Y'all have any other questions before I go? Well, it's almost in. Any other questions? All right, y'all. So if you find this information valuable to you or anyone that is interested in jumping in this, please like and share this video to your friends. That's it. Or you could buy me a coffee, but the description is in the bottom. Okay? The description is in the bottom of the video. And if you had any trouble getting through this video, refresh your screen and get back at it. Peace, love, and bliss. I'm out, y'all.